No one here needs to be introduced to the concept of Lego, right? Yeah, thought not. It's one of those brands that just has such an insane amount of staying power, even all these years after its conception. As a kid, from the ages of 5 to 12, something like that, Lego was basically the only toy I owned, and even now, as a very mature young adult, I have a couple sets kicking around my place, mostly as display pieces, because, I mean, let's face it, whoever decided to make 18 plus Lego sets is actually a fucking genius. You know, I'm so glad LEGO is finally giving us proper representation of diverse communities. I mean, look, we've even got a proper representation of French people now. You combine the ingenuity and flexibility inherent to LEGO with more complex strategies and detailed structures to get some of the best models you can get on the market. I mean, it's basically Warhammer for autistic people. Okay, more autistic people. But maybe that Warhammer comparison is more apt than I thought, because above all else, LEGO is fucking expensive. Not everyone can afford this stuff. I sure as hell can't, which is why I just pinch whatever I find on my neighbours' porches. But for brokies who can't experience the real-life joys of slicing your fingers to ribbons on a 1x1 tile piece, LEGO has you covered, with virtual representations of their models. Turns out there are a lot of LEGO video games. I've played a few of them in my time: LEGO Indiana Jones, Batman, Star Wars, Luther. A lot of these titles can feel pretty homogenous though. They do have their own little unique selling points, but across the 20-odd LEGO games there have been since the turn of the century, you can get a pretty similar experience out of pretty much any of them. And if there's one thing that I'm not a very big supporter of, it's homosexuality. Oh, wait, no, I read that wrong. Sorry, I mean homogeny. I like shit that's weird and kind of jank and a little bit shoddily made, especially over competent and sterile. Most of the time, at least. I mean, anyone who says Hitman Silent Assassin is better than World of Assassination needs to get a grip. I mean, I grew up in Belfast, which is about as third world as a developed nation can get, so I've always had an interest in overly ambitious jank made by like two Balkans in a shed somewhere. Coincidentally enough, that's also why Snaker is the second best YouTuber of all time. He gets that love for plain old heartwarming weirdness in games. Now, if only LEGO had a game like that. A game from before they became a bit of a conveyor belt production. Before I was even born, perhaps. Simpler times, better times, when a handful of guys could fuck around with a license and accidentally make pure video game kino, warts and all. Such a game probably doesn't exist, though. I mean, I guess Lego Island's kinda like that. You got 15 minutes?
You can build a buggy, drive a big tow truck. You can paint a jet ski yellow like a duck. Master of the Trannyverse, there ain't no trick. You just gotta do it brick by brick, brick by brick, tack by tick. No matter how thin, no matter how thick. Papa told Mama and Laura told Nick, you can move a mountain if you do it brick by brick.
Lego Island, released in September 1997, was the first LEGO game to be made by actual human beings for an actual audience, and not the free people who used a Sega Pico in some mountain village in Japan somewhere. It released exclusively for PC back when PCs looked more like this and less like this, but I'm sure that won't affect anything. The game centres on the eponymous Lego Island, a wondrous place inhabited by weirdos, psychopaths and the elderly. The best way I can describe it is it's a bit like an activity centre. You ever played those types of games? The ones that came in cereal boxes and were usually based on SpongeBob or The Wire or other properties like that. Basically a minigame collection, tied together by the brand name. I mean, I know that sounds really off-putting at a glance, but don't worry, it only takes about an hour to see all of the content. Wait, that makes it sound worse. Well, trust me. This is better than the sum of its parts. It's one of those kind of games. I think. I should probably just get it started and see what it has to offer for myself. What the? Oh, fuck. Huh. Well, would you look at that? Turns out this game is a bit too demanding for my RTX 3060. I can't imagine why. You'd think that Wes Anderson in 1996 would have seen this coming. Still, I'm gonna need a workaround if I want to play this children's video game for toddlers in the year of our Lord 2025. Wait a minute, I'm retarded. I own Lego models as an adult. How the hell am I supposed to figure this shit out? Well, that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in. With Big Al's Person Dealership, you can find your own personal assistant for any situation. Do you need someone to figure out how to get 3-decade-old video games to work on your computer? A bride? Anything in between? Well, come on down to Big Al's, located just between Little St James Terrace and that Chinese restaurant that got burned down for insurance on Savile Row. Just ask for Big Al, and he'll introduce you to a variety of potential people to be bought from around the globe, from Russia to Moldova. At Big Al's, they'll always have the right fit for you. Customers known to be members of any local police department will be refused service. Government agents may be allowed on a case-by-case basis. Big Al's is not responsible for any NCA-rated scams as a result of our services. All rights reserved. Ha! Thanks, Al. Unfortunately, I spent all my money on Lego sets, so I can't afford his services for my purposes today. I guess I'll just have to consult the wheel of guys who kind of look like Markiplier for help. He'll do. In all seriousness, Matt KC seems like a cool dude with just the right amount of autism to put together a whole ass configuration thing for Lego Island, allowing for much smoother use on modern machinery. It even fixes things like tying the turn speed to the who the fuck thought that was a good idea? Seriously, who? And anyway, cheers to Mr. KC. So with that, let's take a proper look at Lego Island. So, here we are on the island where we're introduced to the mayor, I guess? I don't know, he kinda looks like if Burt Reynolds was the guy who pushes the food trolley on the train, but Legoized. Clearly he's a pretty big deal though, if he's the first guy we're meeting. Here, he introduces us to a variety of player characters. We have Pepper, the world's first non-Indian Deliveroo driver.
Pepper, he's hot.
Mama and Papa, local business owners and immigrants from the Legazio region of Italy, proving once more that small business owners can only flourish in an environment that allows monopolies, given that they own the only food place on the island. And Nick and Laura Brick, the island's police force. Kicked out of the Minneapolis Police Department and exiled to Lego Island after an undisclosed incident, they still sometimes send letters to their old partner, Debrick Chauvin. You might think that selecting a character means very little, and you'd mostly be right. The wiki page for this game really hypes up the unique abilities of each character, but they kinda just boil down to slightly different interactions when clicking on shit. But there is one exception. Earlier on, I mentioned that Lego Island is basically a minigame collection, and it is, but it also has a story mode. A gripping narrative of love, betrayal, and an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object with one of the greatest villains to appear in a video game. But to access any of that, you have to play as Pepper, so I guess we'll pick him.
And now, you're Pepper! Welcome to Lego Island!
Right after dropping in though, we're immediately struck with a big problem about this island. It's the dumping ground for the biggest psychopaths on the globe. You can't walk 2 feet without some completely psychotic shit taking place before your very eyes, and to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if all of it is intentional. Like, this has got to be a glitch, right? I mean, I guess it's a hell of a first impression, and it does a good job of making me feel like an extra off of Hills Have Eyes.
And in a way, the film asks if these people are wrong for killing their invaders. Is it wrong to eat the people who have been eating you and your ancestors for decades and even centuries?
Right away though, laid bare, we have probably the single biggest reason why this game is remembered so fondly, but we'll get to that in a little bit. For the time being, let's engage in our first activity, the jet ski race. First though, we've got to pimp our ride for it, you know, as you do. Whoa there, hold your horses, Saints Row 2. I'm not going to say this is anything particularly revolutionary, but it is kind of a cool novelty, and admittedly is probably more fun for a child full of wonderment and delight than a cynical bastard who makes YouTube videos with bad words in them and as his hobby. It's kinda neat to put your vehicle together before you get to race it, you know, I can dig that. Do you know what I can dig less, though? Okay, some disclosure. I did use the aforementioned Matt KC Rebuilder tool to mess around with some configuration beyond just getting it to launch without making my eyes bleed, and part of that was adding in WASD movement, and like I said earlier, the whole turn speed thing. That being said, this jet ski still performs about as well as Antonio Lyons on the street curb, especially on Bitch, get the fuck out of the way, this is dangerous. You're going to get yourself, or worse, me, killed here. Regardless of that, I managed to win without much difficulty, and I'm rewarded with another delightful cutscene from Burt Reynolds here for my troubles.
Awesome! I mean, totally awesome, dude!
Anyway, after all that, we're back on the mean streets and prowling for our next task. Like the Nightcrawler of Lego Island, but more violent, you know. And now, my eyes are set on the island hospital.
We're so busy we should be our own title. Adventures in the Lego Hospital. The ambulance is outside. Here's your hat.
We gotta have this.
And this.
Can't go without the shark.
I hope there's room for the tree.
And what do we do if it's hot out there?
What if we have to mail a letter?
Oh, well. I mean, I wasn't expecting this. I guess there were some budget cuts because the hospital is willing to hire a brain-damaged 15-year-old to drive their ambulances for them. NHS, am I right? You know, I wonder how medical care works on Lego Island. We have an entire hospital and an ambulance that they're letting this illiterate fuck drive, but like, what happens after you get to the hospital? Is there Lego open heart surgery? Is there a Lego maternity ward? Do you have to keep an eye out for Lucy Legotby?
Quick, do something! Click on him, somebody!
Whoa!
Hey!
Don't worry. If we can't save it, we can make it tomorrow night special.
Wow, what's that? What a relief. Oh.
We gotta put up a sign. No pets allowed.
Man, is it hard to get some sleep around here or what?
Well, don't drop him.
You mean like that other guy?
Whatever happened to him?
Who?
The other guy.
We dropped him!
Well, don't drop him.
I cannot even begin to describe what the fuck I just witnessed. Well, while I'm here, might as well have a look around. Interior locations in Lego Island are really weird in a way that I can't quite place, and not even in a bad sense. I mean, I was born after the turn of the millennium, but even I get this odd, powerful sense of nostalgia looking at these glossy, late 90s renders. They're weirdly soothing, if you know what I mean. I can just feel the simpler times washing over me as I lose myself in them. Does that sound gay? That sounds gay. Oh well. Anyway, let's move on to the next actual activity. According to the courts, I'm a prolific racist, so it sounds to me like I should flex my skills and try another race. This time on land. Oh, of course they want me to build my own car, that only makes sense. The race itself is... let's put it this way. It's among the most mentally unstable things I've ever experienced. So we're going through the middle of this island's one and only mountain, where we encounter ghosts, giant pizzas, signs made out of people, people made out of signs, featureless grey tunnels, spaceships dropping shit all over the track, oh, and of course, a fucking giant skeleton in the middle of a fuck! So yeah, it's pretty good. By the way, the cars have petrol. Lego Island is an immersive sim. Have I made that joke before? Eh, whatever.
Oh, why, I would have wiped you out, but my colors were clashing.
Oh, fuck you, bitch. No one likes a sore loser. On the topic of racing, navigation as a whole can be a bit contentious in this game. The island's layout is pretty fun from an aesthetic standpoint, assuming we ignore the bank in the middle of the road, which is presumably for more efficient access to the Lego Island tunnels, but then you realise that you can only travel across roads and not too bad most of the time until you get to sharp corners and the dreaded slight inclines, where the controls just decide to absolutely kill themselves. And this is after the turning speed patch, by the way. Ah, fuck this shit, I'm starting the campaign. Yeah, as I referred to earlier, this game has a story mode. Of sorts. I mean, it's about a minute and a half long, but it's still pretty cool to have. We've got a couple of prerequisites beforehand, though, in that we have to be playing as Pepper, and have already gone to the police station to build the helicopter. At this point, I'm beyond asking why this entire wretched place relies on some random kid to build all of their vital infrastructure. Let's just get on with it. To start off the story, we've got to head down to the pizzeria, where we get some...
Oh, grouchy.
I got the bad feeling. I could feel it in my knees.
Papa, you are imagining those things.
subtle foreshadowing by Papa before he tasks us to deliver a pizza to the island's jail, which, you know, doesn't sound in any way shady. Of course, on the way there, the entirety of the island decides it's time for the 12 PM isle-wide stroke. We've got ambulances throwing shit out of them, sharks on the road, fucking ghosts again, and random civilians fucking about in the street. And once we get there, we're face to face with the primary villain of the game. The architect of this fucking thing. This right here is the Brickster. I don't know why his parents named him that, but evidently they were expecting him to be evil. It's always great when your family supports your career choices. And, as you may imagine, he ordered the pizza. After mocking Pepper and the player's illiteracy for being unable to read a misspelt sign, he uses the pizza to melt the lock on the jail cell door.
You see, I just put this baby near the lock and let the fumes do their work. I'm out of here.
What, you want me to say something about that? This doesn't even top the shit I saw on the way here for sheer absurdity. Regardless, the Brickster is on the loose, and it's all our fault, so naturally it falls upon us to right our wrongs and bring him to justice.
So we need someone to race over there. Someone who can use a vehicle that can travel on roads and paths, over ramps, and in a jiffy. A skateboard, perhaps.
Hey, maybe while we're at it we can build a less terrible prison to keep him in. God knows Pepper has enough experience in building shit for other people by now. Heading down to the residential district on foot, we somehow managed to get there before the trained police officers on motorcycles, just in time to catch the Brickster speeding off in a stolen ambulance. I do like how, on the way there, you've got the residents panicking about the Brickster getting out.
Brickster's loose! The Brickster's loose!
As much as I don't like these people, and would gladly see them perish, it adds a lot to the experience, a small touch that makes everything feel a lot more dynamic, given that they're actually reacting to the events going on. They're making a big deal about getting a hold of the stuff he's throwing out of the ambulance for some reason, but I mean, it's not like that's out of character for ambulances on this island. Anyway, time to chase down this guy in a vehicle on foot. I think that now's a good time to bring up this game's music. It's the best part of the fucking thing. Seriously, I know I'm ripping on this a lot, and, you know, it's all in good fun, right? I'm playing a game intended for small children, it's hardly going to live up to the expectations and tastes of a mature adult such as myself. But the music, I mean, this is genuinely really good. Shoutouts to my homegirl Lauren Nelson.
Hi, my name is Lauren Nelson. I was the main person in charge of music on the Lego Island 1 project.
Wait, he's a fucking dude? Called Lauren? Sheesh. Sorry to hear that, man.
I'm not a chick, I'm a dude.
The music is still absurdly good, though. It's just got such a smooth, peppy feel to it. It's absolutely A-class, and encapsulates everything that this game is trying to represent, if you know what I mean. After hunting down the Brickster, he manages to get away once again, and we're tasked with rebuilding the helicopter to track him down. The helicopter parts have been scattered all across the island, because of course they have been. I mean, they make a noise when they're nearby, so it could be a lot more annoying than it actually is. But still, this part right here, tucked behind the building, yeah, that can fuck right off there. Either which way, with the parts all gathered, it falls upon us to rebuild the Blingcopter, as I have dubbed it, and we're off for the final boss. Like 30 minutes after starting the storyline, I said the game was short. Taken to the skies, we're given a bird's eye view of the whole island. It's a cool way to end off the campaign, seeing the whole place from a brand new perspective. The cops are hunting down the Brickster, who now has his own motorcycle, for some reason. All of the AIs are a bit busted. I'd chalk it up to something in the water at this point, so our goal is to fire pizzas and donuts from the helicopter to lure them into each other. Because fucking everything on this island has to relate back to food somehow. But once we do that...
The Brickster is caught. The Brickster is caught.
You and me, we did it. We kept it together. We are way too cool for words.
The Brickster is caught! The Brickster is caught! Oh, I have a few... and on behalf of the entire island, I wish to congratulate your name here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let's see. Oh, never mind the speech. Let the celebration commence!
Well, that's the caliber of insanity I've come to expect from this game. I've heard there's a bad ending, though, if you manage to fuck up catching the Brickster. I wonder how that goes.
It's mine! All mine! All mine! Mine?
You know, this is still less terrifying than the good ending. At least here I'm safe in the knowledge that all of these morons are going to die out very soon. So that's most of what there is to say about Lego Island. Really, the best word for it is weird. Weird people, weird cutscenes, a weird smoke coming from my ears trying to get the bloody thing to run. It's such an odd little title. And I know I've taken enough piss to start a DeviantArt fetish page today, but to be honest, even as a grown man playing it for the first time, there's something very charming about it. I can see how kids who played this in the 90s would have such fond memories. Like I said at the start, I love janky stuff that's full of charm, and that describes this game perfectly, more or less. I mean, it's not like it's a masterpiece or anything. It's not going to usurp Silent Hill 3, or Ready or Not, or LA Noire, or GTA 4, or Metal Gear Solid 3, or Metal Gear Rising, or Devil May Cry 5, or Max Payne 3, or... But you know what? Not every game has to do that. I say we normalise more mediocre games jam-packed with love and care in the modern day. And I'll say it, you know, I'll take this game over the samey feeling modern LEGO game formula, and I'll stick by that. If there's one thing the game manages to perfectly embody, it's that feel of being a child again, right down to most of the locations being based on actual sets from the 90s. LEGO is so goddamn complex nowadays, to the point where you can make whatever recreation you want of your favourite movie scenes, but there's something to be said of the beautiful simplicity of the brand back before it was 90% licensed sets and was a bit more weird and out there. This game really does a good job of representing that, so even though it's not great, I can't really hate it, and I kinda love it even. Maybe I'll try the sequel someday, make something of a series out of this, if I can be asked. Big if.
When I